Well, there's a first for everything, and on Indigo Living's In Conversation series, it is the first time we have 3 female founders on our set. Now, the common link, well, you know her. It's Sima Ved. She's the chairwoman of Apparel Group, and today she's going to be joined by her daughters, Selina and Sarisha. Where does it get so impressive? They are, well, one's under 20, the other one just graduated university, and what is their secret? Well, their mom is going to dish it all about how to raise the most inspiring entrepreneurial females for this generation. Welcome to the show, the Ved family.
Thank you so much, Rose. Thank you for having us as usual.
So you inspired us the first time, and then all we had to do is enter your home to find these gorgeous young women doing inspiring businesses, and 2 different businesses.
We're extremely proud of both of them. Honestly, I think with Selina, we kind of expected it because she was just finishing university. But Sarisha was a downright surprise when she woke up to this whole business affair and said, I'm going to do this too. So that was intriguing for us.
Well, let's start with what your businesses are. So you have the youngest. How old are you? Why don't you just impress everyone first of all?
I'm 15.
And you are the founder of F5.
Yeah.
And what is F5?
So F5 on the keyboard means refresh. And our tagline is the key to sustainability. That's how the whole concept came back.
But where did that, everyone has ideas. Every teenager has ideas. How did it come to fruition? It's in retail stores. We're going to talk about the numbers in just a bit. But you're in school. You are playing sports. You're with your friends. Where do you have time to start a business?
So I think because I go to an IB school, having to do personal projects and stuff like that, where you do have to make a change in the world, I started off with a line called Tees for Fees.
Okay.
Where 100% of the profits go to children's education. So I've teamed up with Red Crescent on that. And from that, I expanded into doing proper athleisure, hoodies, sweatshirts.
But this was all the same project?
Yes.
Wow.
So one project.
And everything is under the label F5. And when we hear the word sustainable or sustainability, I feel like it's a term that's used everywhere. The word organic is used everywhere. How do you know that something is sustainable when someone is buying your product?
So we're GOT certified, which means that we're 100% organic. And then we're also SEDEX certified, where our manufacturer does not use child labor, nor do they pay under the minimum wage.
And how did you find all this?
So I think it all came from my mom.
Yeah, it all goes back to her. We're going to praise her in about 2 minutes, but I want to know from an IB project, when was that moment you knew you wanted to actually have a tangible product and it wasn't just a presentation in school? Because I think a lot of students will have an idea, they do the presentation, they get their great marks, and that's it. It's gone towards their grade. You have actually created a brand.
So it took time, and I had to really think about if I really wanted to go into this. And obviously with the push of my parents, I did, and I started it last year.
You come from a very entrepreneurial background. This year's been a very trying year for a lot of people, but incredible businesses have come out of it, just like your sister's business. Did you find that this was the right time to start?
I had started before COVID, and then my manufacturing started before COVID, and then I launched that in the last 3 months. So obviously it was hard to get out there and get into stores and things like that, but at the end of the day it was worth it.
And how did you find manufacturers? What was that process?
It was a very tough process, especially the fact that I'm 15 and to go into that, but with the support of my parents, it was.
And your parents are both entrepreneurs. You come from a very entrepreneurial family. What have you learned from them?
A lot. From my mom, how to juggle things and multitask and be able to do 4 things at once. And then from my dad, the thing of getting up at 7 in the morning and getting to the office and working till the night.
And how big is your team?
So I recently had 4 of my friends intern with me.
You had them intern with you? You did their recommendation letter as well?
So
that's amazing.
So 2 of them did marketing
Yeah.
and we're currently trying new campaigns, and then 2 of them created my website.
So that's brilliant. But now that you're a boss lady, what do you know about leadership? What have you learned about leadership, or what are you learning about yourself? Because to have people intern from you is actually it's a really big responsibility, being a mentor and a boss.
So I'm learning that you can't give someone a bunch of tasks and say, okay, just finish this. It's never going to happen. It's never going to work. Everyone needs to be checked up on. Everyone needs to be taken care of and made sure that it's done correctly. And everyone needs breaks. That's the biggest thing. Everyone needs breaks.
And do you allow your team to be creative and give ideas?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of the campaign ideas came from them. We recently just tied up with Aventura. So if someone purchases over 250 dirhams in Athletes Go on F5 products, they get 2 free tickets to Aventura.
That's amazing. This is so, honestly, I'm totally impressed. I feel like I'm not doing enough now. And sustainable. I mean, I have your sweatshirt. What I was most impressed actually was the packaging. The plastic that it comes in, I literally put it in my terrace in the plants because it's biodegradable. Mm-hmm. That whole process, did you have a map of what you wanted at every touch point for the consumer? I mean, I noticed it, but I didn't see details, but every detail I looked had biodegradable.
Everything was made sure that everything was sustainable. Nothing that came out of my brand was not. The phone cases that we created are also biodegradable. So it's just when you are committing to doing something sustainable, you have to do 100%, or else you can't call it sustainable.
I definitely want to know what your grade was when you got your project back. It better have been like 100 out of 100. That's amazing. And then do you bounce ideas with your sister?
Yes, a lot of the times about marketing, she gives me a lot of help there.
Okay, so let's toss it to Selina. You just graduated university.
I graduated last year.
Last June. And in 1 year, the world has literally changed. I'm sure a lot of your friends have graduated and don't know what to do, but you have seemed to found a niche in the market back home.
I think I graduated and it was during COVID. We didn't have much to do, and the first thing they said is you can't sit around and sleep all day. So you've got to go to the office. So I was working with 6th Street from when I came back in March.
So let's tell everyone what 6th Street is.
So 6th Street is Apparel Group's e-commerce platform. So all our brands that we have on with apparel and a few more are on 6th Street as well. So I came back, I was said, you have to go work, you can't just sit around. The original plan was to go to Singapore for 6 months and go to Bangalore for another 6, kind of get out there, get thrown out of my comfort zone. That's what London, Ontario was to me as well, a completely different city. But because of COVID, that wasn't possible. So I came back, I started working at 6th Street, basically shadowing my dad. And then I started working in customer service there, where I'd answer the phone calls, reply to emails, do all of that. And then after working there for like 4 to 5 months, I went to the UK. We went to London together, and over there I just said, I really kept hearing that if you do a job you like, it's not really called working.
Yeah, it's a job you love, actually. I mean, everyone can do something they like, but to do a job you love.
So it's not really called working.
Yeah.
And that kept playing on my head that I wasn't very passionate about the fashion and footwear space that 6th Street was doing and that they're really good at. So I definitely decided I wanted to do something in beauty when I came back.
Well, I know how much you love beauty because we're always trading a few secrets, and I always see your Instagram. You're always doing beautiful looks. So that's definitely your passion. What I was most impressed about is that you went to 6th Street, and I think it is an e-commerce place for all the millennials shop. So you really understood your customer. And the fact that you were in the customer service department actually makes sense that you started your business, because you are hearing firsthand of what's selling, what the feedback is, what brands work, what styles work. What was the best part about being at 6th Street?
I think exactly what you said. I took down notes of like what I didn't want to do if I was to open my own business. And when I did start launching or creating the app, that was the first thing I did. Open that Excel document with everything that I knew I had to have on the platform from day one. So I think that was the biggest learning lesson that I got from them, for sure.
And Sima, when your daughters tell you that they want to start a business, what's the step? What do you say to them?
I think with each of them, we had a different reaction because obviously, there are different stages in their lives. So with Selina, it was a given. It was a given that we wanted her to do something different from our business. And honestly, I think it's pretty innovative and daring of her because for the first time, we're actually doing the reverse. We're doing an online business first and then with the potential of going brick and mortar. For us, traditionally, it's always been brick and mortar and then online. But I think Selina needs to share of why she came up with the Nessa platform.
Oh, we're asking her. We're asking her. But as a mom, I just feel like a lot of times, their children have these grand ideas and you don't really know if you should invest in it. Should they further that? Should they have other experiences? Pretty much out of university, she's gone into creating an e-com platform. Your youngest daughter's in school still, and she has a full running business with interns. I mean, it's really impressive, and you are their role model. You're doing something right.
Thank you. I think I think the things that I did right was giving them exposure to enough role models. Not just myself, not just Nilesh, but even like someone like my father, my brother, just showing them that it's all about hard work and the value of work, of what it can reap you at the end. I think when children come up with ideas, it would be really sad if parents just said, "Are you crazy? You can't do that." I think it's better to actually sort of indulge them and say, "Okay, what do you think you want to do? Where do you think it's going to go? How much do you think it's going to cost?" Let them go ahead and do the whole legwork. So like with Sarisha, when she came up with F5, we have an in-house team that handles a homegrown brand R&D. So we threw her in that deep end and said, okay, go talk to the R&D team. Since they are not an international franchise, they're a homegrown brand for us. They will share with you what this is gonna involve. And then you decide if this is really something you want to do. But there is, like Selina said, there is no, I've started this, I'm the figurehead, and I'm going to sit back and you guys are going to work. Because we made it clear that it's not our babies. You're going to have to do what's needed. So I think with Selina as well, I think she was in for a rude shock when she was waiting for the app to develop. And we're looking at her going, you have almost 10,369 things to do before the app gets developed. So I think, bit by bit, she's come a long way realizing what it takes to set up a whole new business.
So let's talk about that business. Let's start off with the name because it means something in Arabic. There's a few variations.
So Nessa, which is Nissa, means woman in Arabic. So we didn't want to call it Nissa. We wanted to have something that related to women, but something different as well. So it is an e-commerce platform with beauty brands, but our main concept is to educate our consumers. So what is our consumer really looking for today? The whole concept of taking on master classes, to having tutorials, to even answering Q&As on skincare and beauty. Just the whole concept of building a beauty platform that you can shop on as well as get educated on.
Yeah, because I think the old model, almost 5 to 10 years ago, was finding that celebrity makeup artist and learning. And now everyone is a makeup artist with a few YouTube tutorials or even just talking with friends or Instagram videos. Everyone is learning from each other. So you've actually consolidated that all on your platform.
Exactly, yeah.
So let's talk about starting a business because everyone, gets excited about the e-commerce and they forget you have a whole back end to do with IT. How did you actually plan did you start with a business plan or how did you start?
So I started by using an online platform that I just downloaded on my laptop, and I could create my own little app. But it was nothing. It was drag and drop. And from there, I spoke to a couple of app developers, did a business plan with both my parents as to what really is a structure, what are we looking for this, what's going to be different about this platform to every other one. After that, we started developing only in January. The app launched in the first week of May. And then from there, it's been like, tech is a lot of issues with it, but it's got to keep going. So we keep working on it. And
what has been the best part? Has it been the creative part about curating the brands? Has it been designing the packaging?
I
what
really
have you
enjoy everything pink. So any place I can find to put something pink, I put something pink. From our packaging to even in our office, honestly, that's been my most fun part of it. We moved into our own office with our warehouse as well.
Wow.
We started off in our basement and then moved to 6th Street. And then now we moved to our own office. So it's been nice. I've decorated the whole thing. Just getting there slowly, but I think that's been.
And how have you built your team? Do you have interns, by the way?
Yeah.
in case you were hiring, people would like to know.
I do.
She's full already. She's hit her capacity.
So I have 10 people who work with me.
Okay.
We're a team of 10 with 5 interns and 5 employees.
And what's interesting, just because when I moved here, I set up my own business. And for me, I think my secret to creating that or the success of that part of the PR company was I did a SWOT analysis on myself. And I always say this to entrepreneurs because you can get really overwhelmed and you think you have to be good at everything and you don't. You just have to know what you are good at and then you start building your team. So how did you start building your team and choosing who you want to have? Because you need people you trust. I'm sure, I know your parents were on speed dial, but sometimes you need to be there to be the boss.
No, the first 2 people who joined were 2 of my best friends. So they just came in, we worked in the basement. And then from there, I got someone on board from a competitor brand, and I knew that was, I look up to that brand. It's what I want to be like. So that's why I think the girl who came on, or the lady who came on, she was a very integral part of our team because she knew a lot about what they had done there and how we can move forward as well.
And what are you finding challenging right now?
Honestly, content creation is more difficult than you think. For sure. As much as content as we create, it's never enough. We just keep having to roll out so much content, and it just, once you upload it, you can't upload it again. And it's a lot of hard work to create content.
And Sima, what's your advice to raising girls? I mean, you have the third is a boy, but you have raised 2 exceptional women.
So I think the first thing I would say is to actually remove that entire mindset that you're raising a girl. Yeah. I think that's the biggest flaw.
Yeah.
If parents do right by their kids, they should do it by each gender. Mm-hmm. It's not according to, oh, that's a girl and that's a boy. So literally, I just think that's the first thing. And I think second of all, lead by example. I can't stress that enough. And by that, I don't mean that all women have to get out there and set up businesses and have their daughters create businesses. I just mean that if you have a role model in the family, whether it's a female or a male, if you want them to mentor your child, make sure they're exposed to them, make sure they have access to them. Like you said, we're on speed dial, right?
Yeah.
And so is my dad, so is my brother. So they have they have that ready infrastructure, which is really solid for them. So I think that, and honestly, it's not that we don't get into fights, and it's not that I don't get flack from both of them if I'm coming down on them hard. They're like, I just woke up and now you're yelling at me. I'm like, yeah, well, that's what an entrepreneur's life is all about.
Yeah.
So I think never to really sit back and say, oh, mollycoddling. Oh my God. That is like, if you're going to change one thing about the way you treat your child, please don't mollycoddle. Don't make excuses for their, not their weaknesses, but more their sort of temptations or whatever else. Do come down on them hard. And I'm not talking about how in the olden days they had the whole spare the rod and spoil the child. It's not that. It's just that you really need to give them reality checks. I think that's key to having 2 founders, well, actually now 4 entrepreneurs living under one roof. We all give each other reality checks.
Well, I'm lucky enough to be in your home many times. And I think one of the things that impressed me the most, even with your father, is that you guys have real open communication. And to me, that is so nice, where you bounce ideas off each other and there's this sense of really learning from each other. And I'm sure, being a younger generation, I'm sure sometimes there's different thought process, but I love that there's this open communication of how to build the business and how to make it better and bigger.
Why don't you tell them what you did today?
So this morning I woke up and I joined my dad for 2 of his meetings. So I went to one with a CEO, and then another one where he got someone came to give him a presentation on an idea that they had.
And so someone was pitching your dad.
Yeah.
And what was your thoughts on that pitch?
So I think the pitch was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah, and my dad did as well. And
it's like Dragon's Den in apparel group, and they're all in the CEO's office.
Yeah, so that's just an example of, honestly, that's just an example of what we encourage.
Yeah.
Like, she's off from school. She doesn't have school this week. So, okay, instead of sitting at home watching, a gazillion TikToks, go shadow dad. And then, tomorrow maybe go shadow grandfather or go shadow your uncle. Come and shadow Rose.
Yeah.
I just think exposure to different styles of leadership and
so
types
important.
of businesses is what's really, really important. And I think what people need to remember is that there are a lot of people like me who are willing to mentor children, whether they're 14, 15, 17. We get interns at Apparel all the time. So it would be great to have them reach out. You don't have to hesitate. I think the worst, like my dad used to tell me, right? The only thing people can say is no. That's the worst that can happen. So why not try?
The company culture at Apparel Group is actually very special as well. You guys believe in further education. Your senior staff, have taken them to Harvard, I believe. Talk more about Apparel Group and why it's a leader in the Middle East and across the globe.
So we learned a long time ago that if we want to retain amazing talent, it can't be done just by monetary gain. It has to be something else that they're looking for. And to us, we ourselves value education to another level. So now we have actually a systematic, in fact, as I've just taken over as chairwoman, we've actually created a whole document where, if you are a VP, these are the educational opportunities you have access to. If you're a general manager, it's this one. If you're this, it's this one. And we've also brought on board a training manager or a training head who speaks 6 languages. And her main goal or mission or mandate from me is to create an online platform whereby even my PA can reach the VP position. And for us, it's all about helping them grow professionally. Because to me, why would someone choose to stay with you? And it shouldn't always just be about money.
Yeah, you need that self-fulfillment. No, it's an incredible organization. And I think if you've read about Apparel Group, you see that your teams are there for a very long time. Your offices have grown. And the company's always growing. So you now have 6th Street, which is the retail platform, and you're always acquiring exciting brands as well.
Yeah, thank you.
And what's next for you now that you are a beauty queen and founder?
I think definitely in a year's time, thoughts about private label, thoughts about going into brick and mortar as well. Giving our customers that offline experience online is very important for us with AI as well. So I think that is something we're definitely looking into, but also curating the perfect offline retail store with brands, with products that we know customers really want from the data we collect with our online.
And has this year been remarkably special because of the pandemic, that you spotted a niche where people wanted to just have things in one click?
I think I spotted that before. I knew there was a gap in this whole being able to purchase everything you're looking for on one platform. So the whole concept is you're watching a tutorial and you can add everything they've made straight to cart. And I think that really came about when I was just watching YouTube and I'm like, she's linked everything that she's used underneath, but it's 5 websites to pay on, 5 websites to wait for delivery on, and 5 websites to really haggle with. And I think that one platform where you can see what she's using, add everything to cart, and do one purchase was our biggest USP.
What is the toughest part of having a business?
Having to manage school and business. That's my toughest part.
And how do you split your time?
So because I'm passionate about the business, a lot of the time when I have off from school or holidays, I use it to work on my business.
And how do you keep track of the stock? Like, it's exciting. You're in a retail store.
Because I'm in Athletes Co does keep the stock and all of that. So it's a little bit less of a hassle.
And you can buy it online.
Yeah, it's on 6th Street as well as in stores in UAE and Qatar and Kuwait.
Amazing. So I just want to show some of the products. These are some of your best sellers, which is the phone case.
Yeah, so it's biodegradable and 100% zero waste.
And this comes in all different styles for iPhone.
Yeah, so
Yes.
there's a few different styles.
And
in
this
that.
is my new mask, which I'm going to get lipstick on in about 30 seconds, which has been bought by Inglot, which is from your store. This is biodegradable cotton.
This is
sustainable
organic cotton, and basically because we've made so many Tees for Fees t-shirts, the leftover material was used to create masks.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. That's so nice. No, I'm honestly so impressed with Tees for Fees. I think that is such a great initiative. And I think anything you can do to help kids get education, that is the key to their future. So I was actually so impressed with that. I just want to highlight this because, you know, I have 2 sweatshirts. This is just brilliant. So it's key to sustainability, made from plants, corn to be exact, and it is biodegradable. Like once you're done, you just put this in your planter or
it's
recycle it.
compostable.
And the sweatshirts come in loads of colors and hoodies as well. So that's that. Please get this from 6th Street, order online. And Selina, your business. Let's see the packaging.
Sure.
Because I love that it's pink, it's feminine.
It's all pink.
I'm going to pass it to Rose.
Sure. We just have some of our favorite products in there. There's some sleep spray that honestly works really well.
This works. I actually buy that all the time. So this is what the packaging looks like. If you order online, you'll get this packaging. And what are some of the best sellers right now for you?
Honestly, because of COVID, a lot of people are buying this works. Just the whole, it's hard to sleep right now. Everyone's going through a tough time. So that's been a really big seller. And actually,
this is the oil. I have the spray.
so they have the oil, the spray, and you can just put it on your pillow and you can, honestly, I've heard very good reviews about people actually being able to sleep after, like getting deep sleep.
So are these your best sellers?
So majority of them are. So we haven't got all of them in there, but that's a Salt by Hendrix face cleanser, which does
Australian
really
brand.
well.
So you have international brands on your site.
And even we have, I don't think there's a product in there, but Ayurvedic brands that we are really focusing on, clean beauty that our parents have been telling us for years to use.
It all goes back to your
Turmeric.
mom. I know, it always goes back to your mom. So yeah.
Ingredients like turmeric that we all know is so good for us, but it's actually in a product now and we're selling that as well. So those are some of our best sellers.
And if a brand wants to approach you, how do they pitch to get on your site? Because you have so many incredible brands here. I was just looking
So we have 200 plus brands on the platform right now, but we definitely are looking at brands that are smaller, even UAE local brands, brands from Scandinavian brands, Japanese, Korean, Ayurvedic, all type of brands, even being small, if they have a USP, like we have a brand from Scandinavia and their whole concept is they use no water because they feel water is just an ingredient they put to not put much of the ingredients that you really need.
Yeah.
So if you have a USP and you are even small, we are happy to market you, make you bigger in this region, especially if you haven't got any presence here.
That's brilliant. So any businesses out there, you can pitch to the boss right here to get online. No, 200 brands is a lot. So there is definitely something for everyone at all age groups as well. So you have some fun packaging, but you also have great brands.
I think the younger generation is definitely looking for that funky packaging that they can post on their Instagrams. And we definitely have a lot of those brands, but they don't just have funky packaging. They are clean beauty brands as well. So halal, cruelty-free, sustainable, all of those sulfate-free kind of brands as well.
Thank you so much for being on the Ved family. But before you go, we have a motto on the show. It is called Living Beautifully, and what it means to each and every one of you. So I'm going to start with the boss right here. Sima, what is, I know you answered the question but before when you came on our show, but I would love to hear it again.
So I think for me, living beautifully is when I have all three of my kids on my bed, each of them vying for some kind of attention to do something with them, but then we all end up playing cards. And I think to me that I just can't replace that with anything.
That's so nice.
Living beautifully for me is when my parents are content with me.
Aw, they're always content with you. No, your parents are so proud of you both.
I think for me, it's similar to my mom's. I really enjoyed COVID when we all four of us, five of us were all in the same house, and we ate lunch together and ate dinner together. And I think it had been a really long time since everyone was sitting at a dining table eating together. And we hadn't done that for ages. So I think it was really, really nice. And I think that's what living beautifully means to me.
I love that. It is so nice having you on. Thank you for being our first family episode. And I think so many young women can be inspired by all three of you. You really bring a uniqueness into the world and to the marketplace. And I wish you so much success in your businesses. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us, Rose, as always.
No, thanks for sharing your story. And thank you for joining us each week on Indigo Living's In Conversation series. Follow us, watch the whole episode again and again, because these ladies are here to inspire you, and we hope to do that on every episode. Follow us on podcasts, YouTube, Instagram. We're everywhere. Comment and like. We'd love to hear from you. See you next week.